everybody, I am Tom and you are watching my Warframe builds. Today, watching the build for Banshee. Thank you, computer loaders. So this is the build here. I actually have 3 different builds for Banshee. This is my regular build that I'm using. If you see me using Banshee, 99% of the times I'm using this build. Has Energy Siphon, which just gives you energy per second. Cunning Drift, which is here essentially for the ability range. Also gives Slide and gives you a little less friction. Prime Continuity is plus 50% ability duration. Stretch is 45% ability range. We have Fleeting Expertise to give me ability duration, ability efficiency at the cost of ability duration. Streamline is straight ability efficiency. Intensify gives you ability strength. Blind Raise gives you ability strength at the cost of efficiency. Vitality gives me health. And I have Power Drift in here as well, which is another movement mod, but I'm using it here for the extra ability strength more than anything else. And the reason I'm using this is because I don't have... I can't remember the name of the mod. It will pop up on screen now. But there is a mod from the Plains of Eidolon that gives you ability strength, which I haven't got yet, just because one, I haven't done much on the plains, and 2, I've just been unlucky when I've gone there to farm for it. But what this ends up with is 190% strength, 160% range, 150% efficiency, and you get back to standard duration. Now, this build is pretty much for when I'm doing regular stuff with Banshee. So if I'm going out on a mission with Banshee, this is probably what I'll have. More specifically, if I'm doing a defense farm, this is probably the build that I'll have. Now, it's worth noting that I could do more. This is a 1-former build. I could put more former on Banshee, but I don't use her enough to justify it, essentially, is the only reason I don't. This build is for doing the defense farm. It has corrosive projection to get rid of armor. You can probably put energy siphons on here instead if you're not facing Grenier, because it's not as big of an issue if you're not facing Grenier. But this has prime continuity, once again, for the duration. Stretch, Streamline, Umbrella Intensify rather than regular Intensify, because I can fit it. And it's extra 6% ability strength, so why not? Transient Fortitude, which... again, same as last time, blind range, same as last time. This one has overextended to bump that range up to 235%, because range is really what you need when you're on a defense doing the capture. Doing this method, and this method is all her 4, essentially. I'll explain it later. And once again, Power Drift for the ability strength. Now, this build here is energy hungry, but not compared to this final build. I said this final build, thank you Warframe, which is stupidly energy hungry, and this build is designed, again, for the defense farm. It's the same thing, but this can only work if you have a Trinity in the party, or hell, even 2 Trinities in the party, in all honesty, because this takes a lot of energy. However, this is Corrosive Projection, Transient Fortitude, Umbral Intensify, Primed Flow, to kind of mitigate the Trinity need slightly. Blind Rage, Cunning Drift for the ability range, Overextended for the ability range, Stretch for the ability range, and Power Drift for the power strength. What this ends you with is 181% strength, like you had last time, but 250% range, and you've tanked your duration and efficiency, essentially. So, if we actually look at the abilities here, in this, her 4 takes just shy of 20 energy per second, and 31 energy to cast in the first place, but it has a radius of 50 meters and does 362 damage per second, which is not insignificant. So, I'll go back to my regular build. Thank you, Warframe. Taking a while. And I'll just have some footage playing in the background, and I shall show you... I shall go through the abilities. First, we have Sonic Boom, which is just a pretty basic one. It does damage and knockdown in like a cone in front of her. With this build, you get about 24 meters range, 95 damage, and the knockback strength is 114. Which, I mean, knockback strength is kind of like, it's a kind of arbitrary number because you don't really know what's required to knock down certain units, but it knocked down pretty much everything most of the time. Sonar. Sonar finds like weak points on enemies. So it will highlight like I can show it off now, but it'll highlight an area like you're probably seeing on screen now, and you can shoot that area and it will do critical damage essentially. It's a guaranteed crit if you shoot on the shiny part on the enemy. Which can be very useful, because what it's actually doing there is creating critical points other than the head. And with current build, this is a 56 meter radius. With my general build, that is, a 56 meter radius, so that's all, pretty much everything in your affinity range almost. It's pretty enormous. It lasts for 30 seconds, and it gives you a 9.5 times critical multiplier if you hit them in one of those spots. So it kills pretty much anything straight away if you hit them in those spots. The next ability, Silence. Pretty much our bread and butter if you're soloing stuff with Banshee. It has a stun, and doesn't make them blind per se, but it makes them miss you a lot more with their shots, or at least it seems to. But it also makes you entirely silent. So none of your shot, like if you use silence and then you snipe someone from ages away, they won't hear the sniper shot, so it will act as if the shot was silent. And this has a radius of 32 meters and once again duration of 30 seconds, which is the base duration. And her final ability is Soundquake. And in my regular build, this gives me 32 meters radius, 380 damage per second, and 6 energy per second. And she just blasts the ground with ultrasonic energy, and it stuns all the enemies and does damage per second. In this case, 380 damage per second on each tick. And it makes the whole ground sort of quake, as the name Soundquake may elicit the idea of. And all the enemies are stunned while they're in there. They'll continuously like stagger over and over and over again, so they won't be able to do anything. And that's essentially her kit. I'll go over what she has with my defense build. This is the one, I'll just go over the one that you use Trinity for, because that's the one, usually if you're going to be farming, you're going to be farming with other people. So if you're going to be farming with other people, you could probably get someone to be a Trin for you. And I'll go over all the abilities. Sonic Boom does 90 damage, and its range is 37 meters, so it's a fairly significant range. Sonar works at 87 meters. Duration is 23 seconds rather than 30, and it's a 9.05 critical multiplier. It's the same. Radius is 50 meters for Silence, and duration is 23.25. And Soundquake has a 50 meter radius, does 362 damage per second, and is 20 energy per second, which is why you need the Trinity. You like 100% need the Trinity. You cannot use this build without it. But that's my build, so I'll let this mission finish out, and then that'll be it. So thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye.